So Salford in possession. Going into dumbing half is Peter Edwards, their former Kiwi player. Hugh, the player for Salford. Now playing at lock forward. This is Cliff Eccles, their prop. 20 metres on his own side of halfway. Forber a few metres inside his own half. Being played by the captain, Andy Platt, who comes in for just a little bit of extra attention as the kick has got away by Mark Lee. Adelaide go up for it and take it well. Ball to be played back by Michael Maguire, who's been very good for Adelaide under the high ball right throughout this season. So the first chance for Adelaide to show their wares. They're 12 metres inside their own half. Roddy Maybon going in to be the dummy half. This is Alan Cann. Cann, who started his career with the Brisbane Broncos and in fact played in 2 of their premiership games for Brisbane. Like their captain, Kerrod Walters, who now is into dummy half for the Adelaide Rams. Mark Corbo came to Adelaide from the Canberra Raiders. And this is Bruce Mamando. Good tackle though by Nathan McAvoy, the big tall centre for Salford. A player with a lot of raps on him. He's only a youngster, but a lot of good judges believe that he really is a player of the future. Ball being put down by the Reds, going back into the in-goal area. In fact, it'll eventually be towed over the dead ball line by Mark Lee. Referee Tim Mander will call on a goal line dropout. So just some disorganisation as far as Salford are concerned in defence.
Yeah, it didn't show a great deal of confidence under that ball, Smith, and in the end he came up with the spill. A little bit unlucky there, the Adelaide Rams. It was a fantastic kick by Dean Schiffolidi, who was a former hooker playing halfback today. He's got all the skills. He'll handle that with aplomb.
So the first bit of pressure for Salford, the goal line dropout. Adelaide will reclaim it. Not the best of goal line dropouts. Bruce Mamando was able to get it, and the first tackle sees Adelaide only some 28 metres out from the line. This is Mark Corbo running it into the defence. Eccles coming over the top. The ball stripped. This will be a penalty.
Had to be reefed. 3 men in the tackle. Reefed over here. Ball taken out.
So the first penalty of the game goes the way of Adelaide. Here, 3 players. Platt coming over the top. Platt going underneath. Eccles coming over the top. The ball reefed out. 3 into the tackle. And so the first chance for Luke Williamson to put some points on the board for the Adelaide Rams. Only a youngster, Luke Williamson. In fact, had his 19th birthday just during the week. Comes from a very famous rugby league family in Queensland. His uncle, in fact, Lionel Williamson, was a great Australian winger of a few years ago. And young Luke Williamson has great confidence shown in him by Rod Reddy. He's moved him into play at 5/8 today. He's been playing out on the wing mostly. He's also been given the goal-kicking duty, so Rod Reddy has absolutely no doubts that this kid's capable, Peter Jackson, of handling the pressure.
He's a great goal kicker, I know that. I watched him at Cronulla, must have been a month ago now, or 6 weeks ago, and he just banged him over from everywhere that day. He's got a great style. You know, he's got a great attitude. He's got a long way to go in the game.
So the kick on its way by Luke Williamson. The radar working right from the word go by Luke Williamson. So the first points on the board to the cheers of the Adelaide fans. And Adelaide get away to lead the Salford Reds by 2 points to 0.
Just to start there, after the Adelaide Rams get a couple of points on the board early. Give them a bit of confidence. Salford on the other hand, they've been a little bit scratchy early.
So the restart taken by Adelaide. Sine Famalo, tough run, bringing it back, but put to ground some 15 metres out from his own line. David Hume getting just outside his own red zone. So now the chance for Salford through Eccles. Still 12 inside their own half. Andy Platt. They come to Andy Platt very quickly, knowing what a dangerous player and what an experienced player he is. Paul Forber. Good low tackle made by Luke Williamson on him. So the 5th and last tackle coming up as it goes back to Steve Blakely. one of the informed players for the Salford Reds. He's kicked downfield for Rod Mabon to bring it back, but Mabon electing to give his pass away. Normally it's one of the trademarks of Rod Mabon when he does run the ball back, that he's a very, very hard player to stop. He's one of the best returns of kicks in the league. Ball being played by Alan Cairn. This is Bruce Mamando getting out on the blind side, but chased and put to ground in the tackle of McAvoy. Now to Mark Corvo. Corvo got away from the first tackle, now given wide on the blind side once more. Mamando taken to ground by Blakely, and Kerrod Walters with one of those customary darts out of dummy half and picks up a pretty easy 12, 13 metres. Now the chance for Adelaide to attack on the last, but the ball being put to ground.
Last tackle, change it over.
Dropped on the last, so the changeover of possession. The Salford Reds will get the ball just outside their own 20.
Rod Reddy won't be happy with that, John. He called on his side just to worry about retaining possession, no mistakes. He hadn't seen much of Salford, so he was impressing that in his side, and an early turnover.
So Salford in possession. And they're 10 on their own side of halfway. And the ball being lost in that tackle. The referee...
Yes, sorry, mate. No, Cord, play it. The ball was dropped. That's it, okay? It's a scrum.
Andy Platt coming off the drop ball there. Second mistake by the Salford side. There it is there. And, well, there was a hand in there, but very hard to detect that.
That little hand came from David Borton, the lock forward from Adelaide. Just gave that ball a helping hand. So the penalty really should have gone Salford's way, but the referee said he'd called on for the ball to be played. And so Adelaide luckily come up with a scrum feed. This is Solomon Keary. Keary just a couple of metres inside Salford's territory. Through Bruce Mamando. Mamando tried to link up with his outside backs, taken to ground though by David Hume. Kerrod Walters there giving him some room to move, then given away to Rod Mabon and on to Chris Quinn. Quinn is taken to ground in the tackle of Gary Broadbent, but they're only some 12 metres out from the line now, given a crossfield from Skipper Liddy. This is Williamson. Williamson able to give it away to David Borton. Borton looking to get the ball back on the inside, and it'll be a turnover, and coming up with the ball will be Andy Platt. Salford just able to hang on, but gee, one thing they have to watch, Salford, is Kerrod Walters out of dummy half, because if he knows that they're giving him some latitude around the rucks, he'll cut them to pieces.
They kill you every time, Kerrod Walters. Great acceleration for a... Here's a big break by the Salford side.
Bardacino of a good break. He was taken to ground by Rod Mabon. The ball is played quickly, though. Ball to be played back by Darren Rogers. So the first real chance now for the Reds to show what they're made of as it comes to Steve Blakely, puts the ball on the ground, battle for possession. Referee is going to rule that it has been taken by Adelaide. Skipper Liddy coming up with possession.
Here, thanks. Here. Point now. The man was effectively tackled. You've come in late over the top, okay? It's a flop. Okay, it's a penalty. No, that's it.
So Paul Forber having the penalty given against him.
Already, John, Andy Gregory is not happy with the Australian refereeing. He's on the sideline and having a word to the touch judges, his players, the referee, anyone who'll listen.
Bruce Mamando going up the short side, taken by Andy Platt. Andy Platt, of course, knows what to expect as far as the referees down under are concerned, having played for the Auckland Warriors. Walters giving it away to Alan Cairn. Cairn taken in a good low tackle by Nathan McAvoy. The centre three-quarter. This is Cameron Blair. Blair got away from Forber. Makes another 12, 13 metres. Bardacino went underneath to make the tackle. Dean Skiffolidi throwing the dummy and then almost getting through. They're on the last. Across field to Luke Williamson. Williamson going towards the line. Given out the back door, it comes to Mabon. Then it comes away to Kerrod Walters. Still on the last. The ball as though is going to come back to Salford. Andy Platt eventually getting possession, and so the Reds have it 5 metres out from their own line.
Yeah, showing a little bit of inexperience there, young Luke Williamson on the 5th tackle. Should have put the ball in the air, or at least try and dribble it into the in-goal area, went himself and ended up coming up with a messy last tackle play.
David Hume. As we look at the replay,
there he is, Luke Williamson. That was the 5th and last, and in the end he just caught in a desperate situation and Kerrod gets it. He realises it's the 5th, and he throws a desperate part as well.
So Salford are now on their final tackle. No score in this game as yet from the Adelaide Oval as they go wide through Mark Lee, away to McAvoy, and then away to Cena. Ball went loose from Cena.
Last tackle, knock on to change over. Just there with the guy sitting down.
Ball dropped by Salford on the last. So Adelaide get possession. And the changeover just 8 metres inside Adelaide's half.
Yeah, nice little ball from Nathan McAvoy. Plenty of raps on this young kid as well. Only young, but according to their coach Andy Gregory, a real star of the game in the UK.
Once again, Mamando. He's been a try-scoring machine, Bruce Mamando. He does love running to some vacant space. If ever it's left on the blind side, he'll always head that way. This is Chris Quinn. Oh, good tackle by Nathan McAvoy. That's exactly what you were saying, Peter Jackson. And I know, talking to quite a few of the Salford players, they said one thing about McAvoy, he's young and he's a confidence player. If he starts well, he'll have a good game. Well, that was a great tackle. That will do his confidence the world of good, as this kick put across field is going to be taken by Richard Smith, and he's taken in the tackle of Cameron Blair.
He doesn't look real confident under the high ball, Richard Smith. He came down okay with it that time.
Never straight. Okay, you were never in the right position, so you should have been back here. Never in the right position.
So the penalty against the Adelaide Rams for not marking up square on, and so the chance for Salford to take some of that pressure off their side. The penalty's favouring Adelaide by 2-1, and this kick, as we watch the reason for the penalty, is Solomon Keary never ever marking square on. So the kick by Steve Blakely finds touch. 10 inside Salford's territory. Cliff Eccles. Andy Platt. Platt is chased and put to ground by Dean Skipper-Liddy. Now to David Hugh, one of the experienced players in the Salford side, given away by Lee. Lee turned his pass and then away to Faimalo. He's tackled. Steve Blakely with a scamper out of dummy half. David Borton makes the tackle on him. Mark Lee. Lee throwing the long pass. McAvoy gives it away then to Forber. Alan Cann, the defender for Adelaide. And so Salford now on the last. Across field once more for Lee. Lee's kick going down to Michael Maguire. Maguire tackled by Fatasina.
Pretty ordinary kick by Mark Lee there. Just a grubber kick to nobody. Certainly none of his players had any chance of getting it. Just turned over the ball too easily. You might as well just stick it in the air down there.
So Adelaide just working it out off their own line. And Donnelly.
Mate, you've got to let him go, mate. No, he was tackled. He was tackled. Hold him afterwards.
Jason Donnelly having the penalty go his way against Cliff Eccles for not releasing him once he was tackled. So the penalty to Adelaide, which won't please Andy Gregory. I mean, they're the silly penalties. When you've got a side under pressure, that's the place you don't want to give penalties away.
Exactly, especially on the first tackle. Fairly animated character, Andy Gregory, down on the sideline, pacing around, having plenty to say.
As has always been Andy Gregory's way.
Yeah, always like to help the referees out, Andy.
What a great player he was. Solomon Keary playing the ball. There he is. Looking picture of sartorial elegance, Andy Gregory there on the sideline. Ball almost lost by Bruce Mamando. In fact, some of the cricketers would have been happy with the catch he eventually made on this famous Adelaide Oval, as the ball is played back by Blair and then away through Kerrod Walters onto Dean Skipper-Liddy. 10 out from the line. Away once more to Walters, then it comes away through Williamson and on to David Borton. Borton trying to crash his way through the defence. He's getting very close to the line. On the last, though, he's dragged to ground, David Borton, and so the changeover. Salford come away with it through Richard Smith.
No, once again, bad organisation by the Adelaide Rams. 5th tackle, Dave Borton there, locked forward, dying with the football. You've just got to get a good kick in on your 5th tackle. Got to put yourself in a position to score some points or at least get a dropout.
Faimalo one thing we should point out about all of the games, of course, in the Visa Cup for the World Club Challenge is that there are 4 fresh reserves, but you are allowed only 6 interchanges. So it's played under the international rules and not the unlimited interchange that we see in the Australian Telstra Cup competition. Rod Maybon. Maybon taken in the tackle of Smith. Broadbent coming over the top. Interesting player there, Gary Broadbent, number 25 for Salford, their fullback. He's only a young player, but a player with enormous raps on him. And one of the interesting things about him is that he was coached as a young kid of only about 11 or 12 by Rod Reddy, who's the coach of the Adelaide Rams. Rod was over doing some development work in up around Cumbria. And he was from Barrow, up in the Cumbria district, so one of his earliest coaches, the current Adelaide coach, Rod Reddy. He's taught him well because he's a very good player, Gary Broadbent. This is Alan Cairn. Cairn does well to give it back to Kerrod Walters. Walters starts to sprint, but he gets up to the 20-metre mark and then is able to get it away from Rod Maybon. Maybon will go in and score. You put it down right underneath the dot. Oh, it's a big day, not only for Rod Maybon, let me tell you, it's a big day for Peter Jackson, who's backed Rod Maybon to be the first try scorer. I have to give you up, Jacko.
Yeah, Jenny, Roddy Maybon, thank you very much. Great work there from the Adelaide Rams. Kerrod Walters involved. He's having an absolute blinder, Kerrod, today. It's a nice run by Big Corvo. And from this play, the ball, Kerrod goes for a dart himself after getting the ball back. There he goes himself. Throws out to Alan Cairn, who gets a great little one-hander away to Kerrod back on the inside. There he is. Kerrod puts the pedal down here, gets into some open space. This is a miracle pass. He had no right to pass that ball at all. Rod Maybon doing what he always does best. That's back up. And he goes in underneath the post. But fantastic stuff from the Adelaide Rams. Roddy Maybon, great stuff, son.
Ah, well, it will be a good night tonight because Jacko, one of the things he said, if I win, I shout for everybody.
No, I didn't say that.
There's Andy Gregory, not too happy with that try being scored against his side. And I'm sure that one thing Andy Gregory has to do is tell his players to watch that man with the ball. Kerrod Walters, they're giving him too much latitude.
Yeah, I'm sure that the message will be going out from Andy Gregory. Exactly that, John. There he is, Kerrod. Get him the open. He's got great pace for a hooker. It's always been his trademark, and that ball was absolutely miraculous. Rod Maybon, a little bit lucky there. One of the Salford players slipping over, but you can't do much more than that underneath the post. They'll be very happy with that. 6-0 to the Adelaide Rams, a great start.
So young Luke Williamson, I guess no kick's easy, but this is one that he should be able to throw over and does so. And so Adelaide get away to lead the Salford Reds by 8 points to 0. I was just talking about Salford, probably not one of the better known English clubs, particularly for Australian viewers, but a club with a very long history, the Salford Reds, based in the Greater Manchester area of England, and over the years have had some of the greats of English rugby league, people like Stanley Brogden, who was one of the great centres back in the 30s. The mighty Gus Risman came to Australia with 3 British Lions tours, in fact captained the 1948 tour to Australia, and one of the absolute all-time rugby league greats. The dual international David Watkins played for Salford. In recent years, of course, one of their players and in fact coaches was the great Australian fullback Gary Jack.
And Andy Gregory, coach of the Salford side, I believe, John, he's the only coach from the original, when the Super League started 2 years ago, he's the only first-grade coach who's still got his job.
It says something for Andy's ability. There's a turnover by Salford, and Bruce Mando able to come up with possession. And this is Chris Quinn. He's tackled just near halfway, with Adelaide leading by 8 points to 0. Alan Cairn. Cairn taken to ground by Peter Edwards, their hooker. Former Kiwi tourist to Great Britain, Peter Edwards. Rod Maybon playing. Mark Corvo, they're just not coming up off their line at the moment, Salford. They waited for him to make the 10 metres to them.
Yeah, we saw this with the London Broncos on Friday night, John. Struggling to get back with the referee, therefore they're on the back pedal all the time, and you can't come forward in defence. There's plenty of yards to be picked up by the Rams around the play the ball area, as you've just seen.
Last coming up, Luke Williamson, the designated kicker, putting it right across towards Donnelly's wing, going into the in-goal area. They all go forward. It's lost. Jason Donnelly eventually puts the ball down, but the referee will rule that it'll come back to the 20 for the tap restart. Lost forward by the Adelaide Rams. 20-metre tap restart for the Reds.
Oh, fantastic kick by the young bloke Luke Williamson. Nice and high, coming down right on the try line. That's what you want. A little bit unlucky there, the Rams. Looked like they got to the ball first, but they couldn't handle it.
We saw the pictures of Andy Gregory on the sideline before having a word to everyone who'll listen. He's just received an official warning from the sideline, from the touch judge. If he keeps on giving the abuse to the referee, he'll be asked to move back off the paddock. So a bit of drama on the sideline.
Well, he's been giving it to the ref, has he, Matt?
Unbelievably.
Should get a microphone near him.
I don't think we can.
There he is, Andy Gregory. Never been short of a word throughout his entire career, and I don't think a warning from the touch judge is going to change him.
No, he's always been a great character, Andy Gregory. Fantastic bloke, actually, but he was just a fierce competitor. Loved to have a yap on the field. I played against him a fair few times. In fact, I remember getting head-high'd by him once in our first test in 1992 when he was out here with the Great Britain side. I'll tell you, I'm 6'3" and Andy Gregory's about 5'1", so he needed a stepladder to get round my neck.
But he did. So Salford needing to put points on the board now, trailing by 8 points to nil at the moment as Steve Blakely runs it back towards the blind side, then is able to give his pass away to Faimalo, but they swarmed to him and Bruce Mamando was there to make the tackle. So Salford get up to the 20-metre mark. Pass being held up. They're only 12 metres out from the line. That's where the ball is played back. Now switch back inside to Cliff Eccles. Eccles was able to get his pass away. They're only 8 metres out from the line as Gary Broadbent plays the ball. They really need to score a try. Lovely little kick being put back into the in-goal area, the reverse kick, but Rod Mabon did well to get back there and put that ball down. Darren Rogers was coming through to try and get to the ball. But good work by Rod Mabon. He had to turn and run, but did it well.
He certainly did. Fantastic player, Rod Mabon. So safe. Makes a big difference when you've got a fullback that you've got total trust in. Makes the players in front of him do it a lot easier.
Well, I think the thing about that, Jacko, was that he made what was really a difficult manoeuvre where he had to change direction under pressure. He made it look easy.
Well, good players do that.
Bartasini playing the ball. So they bring it back towards the 20. This is Faimalo. Tackled by Mamando right on the 20-metre mark. Edwards ran a few metres from dummy half and then gave his pass away to Cliff Eccles. Mark Lee elects to give it back to the blind side. This is Rogers. Rogers able to swing it back to Hume. Hume then gives it away to Blakely. Only 8 metres out from the line. Run across field to Gary Broadbent. Here's a chance for them. Broadbent going for the line, gets it down and scores. Gary Broadbent, the player, as we said, who's got an enormous rap on him and one of the really informed players for the Salford Reds. The player who was a youngster was coached by Rod Reddy. Rod perhaps taught him too much because Gary Broadbent has scored a good try that keeps the Reds in the game.
A good try, but a fairly soft try as far as the Adelaide Rams are concerned. Mark Lee drifting across field, picking up Broadbent. Solomon Keary just came up. Well, it wasn't Solomon Keary. In fact, yes, it was. Came up with a pretty ordinary tackle on Broadbent. In fact, he stepped off his right foot, and Keary only really got an arm on him. Probably showed a little bit better from this angle. There was really nothing doing. They shouldn't have scored a try here. They had man-on-man defence. It was just a simple missed tackle by this bloke.
Well, it seems we've lost transmission at the moment from Adelaide, and the score at the time before the conversion attempt was Adelaide 8 and Salford 6. Sean McRae, Salford at last getting back into the game.
Yeah, they have. It's been a very quick start by Adelaide. It almost looked as though at one stage they might have been too quick for Salford, but Salford have hung in there and have had a couple of scoring opportunities now, just been inside the 20 metres of Adelaide's defence, and as we just saw, Gary Broadbent found them a little bit vulnerable. So they've done particularly well to stay in the game because, as I said, the way Adelaide started, you think that this could be one of those high-scoring matches.
Thanks for that, Sean. Now let's go back to our commentators in Adelaide.
He just can't come up with the tackle, and Broadbent shows good strength and determination to get through that tackle and get over the try line. So it's alive, this game. The Salford Reds aren't going to lie down. He's got to keep tackling. I'll tell you what, I've been very impressed with the young 5'8", Steve Blakely. He's prepared to take him on. He's got a good kicking game. And he's got a good ball as well. He'd be one to watch.
So Adelaide in possession after the restart with Bruce Mamando playing the ball. Steve Stone has just come on to the field for Adelaide. Stone, who's wearing the number 9, former South Sydney player and a Canberra Raider, as this penalty goes to Adelaide. Ball reefed out by the Salford defence. Little hand just going in there to help the ball on its way. Famalo getting a hand to the ball. Yes, just going back to Steve Stone. Last week, when Adelaide played Canberra here at the Adelaide Oval, when Steve Stone was injected into the game, it really did spark a revival for Adelaide. And in fact, they were down 14-0, came back with 3 tries to lead 18-14 at the break. It's been one of the problem areas for Adelaide. It's been around their halves, particularly as their number 1 halfback, Stuart Topper, has been injured for a lot of the season. But he did a very good job last week, Steve Stone, and Rod Reddy would be hoping that the same thing happens today. Kerrod Walters into the dummy half spot, 20 metres out from the Salford line. Now across field to Steve Stone. Stone switching it back on the inside to pick up Mamando. Stood in the tackle of Forber. Gets it back across field once more to Stone. Almost to Shepherd as he got in behind Cameron Blair. Referee says the defence wasn't obstructed. Kerrod Walters there once more. They lay off Kerrod Walters and he gets to only 3 metres out from the line.
Get out here, please. Just come here, please. Andy.
Cliff Eccles being called out, as well as the captain, Andy Platt.
Andy, there's too much holding down to play the ball, mate. You always got, listen, excuse me, just down for a tick. You got your hand on the ball, okay? Whenever the ball goes out, the benefit of the down usually is going to go against you, okay? So just get the hand out. Yes, it is, okay? But that's the second time with you. Let's just get those hands out of there.
Motion, sir.
Okay, no, it's not.
Cliff Eccles.
Plenty of excuses, haven't they?
He wanted the last say.
It will cost them 2 points, that mistake. There's no doubting about that. Luke Williamson he could throw this one over. So a little bit of a problem with their discipline. Salford side getting used to the interpretation by the Australian referees. But interestingly enough, I listened to the interview we did with Terry Madison after the game on Friday night up in Brisbane, and he believed that the play the balls were in fact slower in Australia than they are in the UK. He believes that the game's a lot quicker in the UK. But I find that hard to fathom. I think, if anything, the English sides that I've seen play this weekend have struggled to keep up with the pace of the play of the ball and to get back to 10 metres.
So as the Salford reserves just do some warming up exercises on the sideline, Andy Gregory goes across to have a word to them, and Luke Williamson lines up this kick. No mistake by Luke Williamson, and so Adelaide leads Salford by 10 points to 6. 1 try in front of the Adelaide Rams, with 12 minutes remaining until the break. As Bikini Savellino comes onto the field for Salford, who will replace Paul Forber. So the restart to be taken by Luke Williamson. Taken by Lee. Lee able to give it away then to Famalo. The full head of steam.
He runs hard, doesn't he, Famalo?
Bruce Mamando was the player who stopped him. That's happened on a couple of occasions. I think Mamando set himself the task that every time Famalo has the ball, he wants to...
Well, yet again, we've lost transmission from Adelaide, unfortunately. Sean, Salford are doing it hard, aren't they?
Well, they are. You can see there's a slowing down process they're trying to develop through the game, and I think we saw that evident the other night when we watched London play Brisbane. And I think if you're going to take on the Australian side, you've got to slow the pace of the game down, because they just are very, very smart and very quick when they play the football, and it's very hard to stop. When you're on a back pedal, it's very hard to stop. And the only way to stop it is to try to come up with something to create a slower play of the ball, and Salford have taken the odds to it, and we've just seen a penalty given against them, and it's cost them 2 points, and I dare say the next person will be in the sin bin for 10 minutes, yeah.
Do you think the jet lag is also possibly taking an effect on the players?
No, I think they've had enough time now. I think you really only need 3, 4, maybe 5 days. And, Salford, I think, left last Sunday, so they've been there about 5 or 6 days. I don't think it's that. I just think it's the intensity as the problem that the European clubs are always going to face, was the intensity for the full 80 minutes. And the benefit that Salford have got, they're probably a bigger side than Adelaide. Adelaide, really, for an Australian Super League team, are not that big. And I think we're seeing that's why Salford are making a lot of yardage when they have got the football. And that's probably why they're still in this game, albeit there's still, 50 minutes to play. But I don't think jet lag plays a major role at this particular time. It'd be different if you had to land after a couple of days and then play.
Okay, thanks for the moment, Sean. We've got pictures back from Adelaide, as you can see. And Adelaide look like they've just scored a try. Let's pick up our match commentators.
To Roddy Maybon, and there's a huge hole there. He goes straight through that, and there he is, Cameron Blair, just finishing it off. About a 50-metre run or 30-metre run to the line, untouched.
The big player who's just come onto the field, Lokini Savellino, was the player who just didn't adjust in defence to get him. But he won't be the first player to be beaten by Rod Maybon, and he certainly won't be the last. So the pressure on Andy Gregory, as the worried expression shows. And another easy conversion attempt for Luke Williamson. Could be a vital try, that one, inside the last 10 minutes before the break. Conversion should get Adelaide away to a 10-point lead. Which it does, and so Adelaide lead by 16 points to 6 over the Salford Reds.
Well, that's something we're really going to have to work on at half-time, is their defence around the centre of the ruck. They've got to get up, get back and come forward a lot better than they have. Otherwise, I mean, if the Adelaide Rams will get the ball on their own 10-metre line, and by the time their set of 6 is up, they're up 40, 30 metres out from the Salford line. I mean, it's 60 and 70 metres in a set of 6 is just not good enough. You won't win football games doing that. I'm sure Andy Gregory realises that.
So Richard Smith bringing the ball back, and the Adelaide fans certainly very pleased with the way things are at the moment. I guess our viewers in England could appreciate the situation for Adelaide, because I guess, Jacko, Salford in a similar position in England, where they live in the shadow of a side like Manchester United when you're in the Manchester area. Here in Adelaide, of course, it's traditionally an Australian rules town, and they have 2 teams this year, the Adelaide Crows and Port Power in the Australian Football League, the Australian rules competition. But they've done a wonderful job promoting rugby league here. They haven't had much to cheer about at home, the Adelaide crowd, but they're certainly liking what they're seeing today. As this ball is being lost by Adelaide, it'll be picked up by Richard Smith. Now here's a great chance for Salford to hit back. They need a try before the break. Cutting back inside is Darren Rogers. Rogers gets to only 5 metres out from the line, and that's where he'll play the ball. Played away to Edwards, then it goes away to Lee, and then on to Blakely. Blakely got a pass intended for Andy Platt. He'd overrun it. Pass, I think, would have been called forward anyway, but it's going to be an Adelaide ball, and so a let-off as far as Adelaide is concerned, and a real chance gone missing for the Reds.
Yeah, no doubting that. That was a great opportunity for the Reds. Blakely just forcing a ball to Andy Platt. I'm not sure he was ready for it. Here he is here. There's a little hole outside Kerrod Wallace, but Andy Platt comes onto it, takes his eye off the ball for a split second, and they come up with the spill. So a let off for the Adelaide Rams. The Salford Reds, a missed opportunity.
Steve Stone put the ground in the tackle of Peter Edwards. Mark Corvo to play it. Back to Luke Williamson. On the last tackle, driving kick by Williamson. Gary Broadbent, though, is back on his own 20 to pick it up. Makes 15 metres before the defence gets to him. It was Williamson chasing his own kick through who made the tackle. Richard Smith.
Never back. Never back, all in front of me.
Up inside the 10, the Adelaide Rams. Tim Mander gives the penalty to Salford.
Offside everywhere there. The Adelaide Rams could have picked 3 or 4 players to ping.
Cliff Eccles. Playing the ball. Now to Faye Marlow. Only knows one way. The old South Pacific sidestep, straight over the top. A hard man to bring down. Hume running the reverse play. Ball to be played back by McAvoy. Now away through Lee. Lee looking for Blakely, dummying, then is able to switch his pass to David Hume. Hume was put to ground 9 metres out. Plays it. Bring it back to the right-hand side. The kick being put across field towards Richard Smith's wing. Brilliantly taken, though. Up to get it was Donnelly. Takes it on the full. Inside his in goal.
Oh, that was a great take by Donnelly. Nice kick, Smith coming through. Donnelly just goes up AFL style, gets his hands up in the air and comes down with a beautiful catch. Have a look at it again. Under pressure going backwards over his shoulder. And he did everything right on that occasion.
It's just in back play, Mark Corbo being sent to the blood bin by referee Tim Mander, which allows the Adelaide try scorer Cameron Blair to come back onto the field. Michael Maguire playing the ball 8 metres on his own side of halfway. So we get inside the last 5 minutes of the first half. Adelaide leading Salford by 16 points to 6. Switch back once more to the short right-hand side. This is Chris Quinn. Quinn, who's the club captain for Adelaide. The on-field captain is Kerrod Walters, but the club captain is Chris Quinn. Dean Skiffalidi caught on the last. That was a mistake by Adelaide.
Another mistake by Adelaide in the kicking department. I think they've turned the ball over 3 or 4 times already in this first half. And Rod Reddy wouldn't be happy with that. He relies heavily on their kicking game.
Looking at that tackle count, Salford have had to make quite a lot more tackles than Adelaide in the second half. That could be a telling factor. Lee giving his pass wide to Hume. Hume able to switch it back on the inside to pick up Darren Rogers. 25 metres out from the Adelaide line. Once more to Lee. Mark Lee with the long pass given across field. This is Nathan McAvoy. Into dummy half goes Savellino. Now back with Steve Blakely. Blakely dummied, then put the ball on the toe. Written well though by Kerrod Walters to dive on that loose ball. So Adelaide starting to bust it once more. Michael Maguire making 8 or 9 metres and then a quick play the ball, and Steve Stone once more out of dummy half, which has been one of the real problem areas for Salford. Their marker defence has not been good, and Kerrod Walters and that time Steve Stone are just having a picnic as Bruce Mamando with another hard bullocking run. Mamando gave his pass back to Rod Mabon. This time they're able to hold on to Mabon. So getting to only 25 metres out from the line. Ball to be played by Alan Cairn. Dean Skiffalidi once more going to the line and then to Mabon, but he loses the ball and Gary Broadbent comes up with possession. Gee, they really have to work on their marker defence in the second half. I'm sure that'll be one of the things that Andy Gregory will simply lay down the law about.
Yeah, just too many yards, too many easy yards in there for the Rams. I mean, it's just so tempting. Every time you get a set of 6, you can get 50, 60 metres. It just gets... I think at the moment, the Salford side, they look a little bit tired. They're struggling to get back to 10 metres. They're standing in a bunch in attack. So very important 2 minutes. They've got to hang in there for the next 2 minutes and make sure they don't go into the break.
So Salford just on their own side of halfway. 5 tackles gone. Ball to be played back by Andy Platt. Thought may have just been injured in that tackle. Just getting his breath back in back play as Steve Blakely puts this kick downfield. Donnelly is back for it. Now starts to run it across field, Donnelly. Has Mabon coming up with him, elects to take the tackle. Mabon, the dummy half, shoots his pass away to Michael Maguire. Maguire showed it and then ran, eventually taken ball and all by McAvoy. Chris Quinn, 30 out from his own line. Quinn to play it. Another 5 or 6 metres out of dummy half for Steve Stone, and again for Kerrod Walters. They lay off him once more, give it back again on the inside to Steve Stone. Walters a little bit more open space away to Skiffalidi. Dean Skiffalidi shows it. Eventually taken to ground. But Adelaide looking dangerous again with just under a minute remaining as Steve Stone uses the little kick ahead. Dropping back forward, though, will be Fatasina. He's taken in the tackle of Michael Maguire.
Good set of 6 once again, illustrating that point that we've been making. Adelaide Rams easily making 50 and 60 metres in that set of 6. And there's just so many options out there for the moment. They're running the line. They've got 5 or 6 metres of just running time before they actually get to the defensive line. Plenty of time to weigh up your options.
Edwards switching the attack back towards the short side of Flaimalo. Fight for possession. In fact, Steve Stone has come up with possession, and that's legal one-on-one. So, with only 15 seconds remaining, probably one last tackle now coming up for Adelaide as they set themselves. Kieran Walters calling the shots. David Borton runs out of dummy half. Borton will be tackled. A quick play the ball is what Adelaide needs. They'll be able to get that. Now the last tackle coming up, the last play of the first half, back to Cameron Blair. Blair trying to crash his way through the defence. He can't. Held on to. Tim Mander says that'll do us for the first 40 minutes. And so the Adelaide Rams with a comfortable 10-point lead at the break. Adelaide leading Salford by 16 points to 6.
Yeah, it's been a set. The player's going to win out most times. Not as attractive to watch, but it'll win the game.
From Salford's point of view, one would think they have to be the side to score first in this second half. But I'm sure one fellow who's very happy, Peter Jackson, is the Adelaide coach, Rod Reddy.
G'day, Rocket. You must be pretty happy about the first half. You there, Rocket?
Just having a problem getting to Rod Reddy on the sideline, so we will be hearing from Rod Reddy very shortly. We're just waiting, in fact, for Tim Mander, the referee, to come out to start the second half. You would think, Peter Jackson, that Andy Gregory would have instilled into the Salford side, they have to be the side that has to score first in the second half. They can't afford to allow Adelaide to increase a 10-point lead. If they do, it's going to be very tough to pull it back.
Well, that's exactly right. You've got to make sure that they give their brains in defence as well, because it's important for them to score first. But obviously, I mean, it's pretty obvious, but they don't want the Rams to get away to another 6-point advantage and be all over.
So Tim Mander back out into to the centre. With Adelaide leading by 16 points to 6. Salford in the second half running from the River Torrens end, and Adelaide defending the famous cathedral end of the Adelaide Oval. Now let's take you to the sideline. In fact, with us is the Salford coach, Andy Gregory.
Well, Andy, how'd you see that first half?
We've not controlled the ball very well. When they look earlier, we've let Kevin Walters get too much room, and they punish us with a bit sloppy defence on our part. But I think there's a slight interpretation of the rules. On a few occasions, I certainly don't think back home in England you've got to stand up and play the ball, and over here, they're getting away with it. But hopefully we can get a good start, and we can pick our defence up and hopefully kick on from there.
Have you seen the marker area as a problem in defence?
Yeah,
they seem to make a lot of yards.
Yeah, they have
there.
Kevin Walters quick play the balls. We spoke about it at half time, and hopefully we'll have addressed that situation, and we can keep Kevin Walters quiet. If we keep Kevin Walters quiet, then the Adelaide Rams are quiet.
Thanks, Andy. Thanks for speaking with us. Andy Gregory, the Salford coach, as Adelaide with a driving kick, finding touch just out from the Salford line. So Mark Lee will have the feed to this scrum, 10 metres out from Salford's line. As he feeds the scrum, and it is won by Salford. Rod Reddy with us on the sideline.
Well, Rocky, you must be pretty happy with that performance in the first half.
Yeah, certainly, mate. I thought we controlled the ball reasonably well. I think our execution near the try line was a little bit disappointing. All seemed to be on the same wave. We just needed to get a bit more support play in that area, and 16-6, I'm reasonably happy with that.
Yeah, your fifth tackle options on a couple of occasions seem to fall down a little bit.
Certainly is, mate. I mean, I think a blind man can see that. So we spoke about that at half-time, and I think we've come up with the right ploys in the second half.
Plenty of room up the centre for the Adelaide Rams.
Comes with the quick play of the balls, and I don't sort of quite pick up an Andy. I think our play of the balls are pretty good, mate, or the Rams are anyway. They get up and play the ball properly.
Thanks, Rod.
Thanks, John.
Rod Reddy, the coach of the Adelaide Rams. So there you have it from the two coaches, what they had to say to their sides at the break. As Adelaide are back in possession with David Borton making about 5 or 6 metres before his progress is stopped by Faimalo. Steve Stone running it and then showing it for Solomon Keary. Keary trying to get away from Rogers. Darren Rogers, though, gets him by the arm and slings him to ground. Cameron Blair. Blair slipping under the first attempted high tackle from Edwards. Then he's taken to ground in the tackle of Hume. But down to the 20-metre mark once more of Salford as Steve Stone gives it wide again to Solomon Keary. Keary driven into the ground by Rogers. Line deep with Alan Cairn running onto it. And only 5 metres out from the line. Last tackle coming up. Kerrod Walters switches it to Cameron Blair. Blair looking for try number 2. Put the ground just 1 metre short of the line. That was on the last tackle. The changeover, and Salford will bring it right off their own line.
On the 5th tackle, they had to go at a planned move there. Cameron Blair coming back up the centre. It didn't work. There it is there. Kerrod Walters, little drop-off pass to Cameron Blair. And he almost made it. End up dropping the ball in the end. Once again, they electing not to go with the kick on the 5th tackle, and we spoke to Rod Reddy about that just moments ago, and he said he'd addressed that problem. Well, on that occasion, they didn't put a ball up in the air. They decided to run in it and it failed.
Salford having got a penalty, so that allows them to come almost out to halfway. That's the halfway line that you can see in screen. Ball being played almost right on halfway. Their captain Andy Platt. Edwards tried to go from dummy half, now loses the ball. Referee is going to rule that it was lost by Edwards, not reaped out by Adelaide. And so Adelaide back in possession. Bruce Mamanda on the halfway mark. Mamanda to play it. Dean Skiffolitti. The switch inside to David Borton. Tackle made by Andy Platt. Luke Williamson. Bruce Mamando looking to break free of the tackle of Eccles. Eventually slung to ground. Walters, few steps again out of dummy half before he's able to unload his pass to Rod Mabon. The little men causing real havoc for Salford as it comes to Alan Cairn. Cairn straightens up. One-handed pass back to Steve Stone. Switched again, back inside to Luke Williamson. Lovely pass back to Kerrod Walters. Walters was able to get his pass away to Steve Stone. He was almost through. The tackle eventually made by Eccles. Only 10 metres out from the line. Now again to Alan Cairn. Cairn, who loves scoring tries, back to Walters, to Steve Stone. Stone puts the ball, the grubber kick. It'll be fielded though by Richard Smith. Can he run it out of the in goal? He can't. Good chase by Solomon Keary to hold Salford in the in goal, and the Reds to a goal line dropout.
Oh, there's some great football there, wasn't there, Johnny McCoy? Little short passes from the Adelaide Rams on the 5th tackle. They decided to go with Alan Cairn. He was strong enough to get the pass back to Kerrod Walters. Great work here from Steve Stone. Knew there was nothing happening, so he put the little kick into the in goal area. The worst he was ever going to get was this, a line dropout. So there he is there. Beautiful play by Steve Stone. Really got a smart thinking brain, Steve Stone, as far as rugby league goes. They just cleaned him up in the in-goal area. So they'll get the ball back now. Another set of 6 for the Adelaide Rams. That's the way they like to play it. They like to continue the pressure.
So the blood bin being called for by referee Tim Mander as Adelaide get ready for this goal line dropout to be taken by the Reds.
It's not just the style of play and the referee they're struggling with. The Suns also got a bit of a bite down on the ground now. They're struggling a bit with condition, the Salford side.
It's Andy Burgess. This comes onto the field for Salford. So after the goal line dropout, again not a deep one. Ball played back by Maguire. If the goal line dropout doesn't get to around halfway, Peter Jackson, it means that the first tackle is going to be made not far outside your own 20, and then you're under pressure. And that's happened a couple of times for Salford today. Steve Stone back again to Rod Mabon. Mabon, well, he got away from the first tackle of McAvoy. Eventually he was put to ground by Faimalo. Now spun across field wide to Luke Williamson, giving more space for Bruce Mamando. Mamando gives it back to Solomon Keary. Keary taken by Edwards. 9 metres out from the line. This is Dean Skiffolitti, now in the hands of Mabon, and on to Mark Corbo. Corbo almost through. The tackle made again by McAvoy. From Borton, the dummy half to Skiffolitti, rolling it ahead. It'll be picked up once more, though, by Salford. Savellino comes away with the ball and is held on to just inside his own 20.
Oh, they're just hanging on, aren't they, Salford? Really struggling. There's so many yards to be made by the Rams down the middle. The ruck, Kieran Wilder's turning it back inside. Steve Stone's involved heavily there.
This is Burgess. Andy Burgess playing it. Peter Edwards from dummy half runs a few paces, gives it to Eccles. Ball and all tackle by Keary. So Salford 18 metres inside their own half. McAvoy, big lump of a fellow, Nathan McAvoy. Stands about 6'4" or 5. And having a pretty good game today.
No. I got him. David.
David Borton being called out by Tim Mander for the high shot on Andy Platt.
Mate, most definitely a high tackle. Okay, you've got to get away from that neck area. Okay, stand up, please. Got to get away from that neck area. Let's just get him down, okay?
Bad news for Dave Borton, as I think he actually hurt himself in that tackle. Here is again Andy Platt taking it up strongly, right around the neck, no doubting that. And Dave Borton's hurt his knee, gets up limping. So he gives away a penalty and injures himself right around the throat, that one.
Andy Platt also leaving the field for Salford after that head-high tackle from David Borton. So Andy Platt, the skipper, goes to the touchline as the tap free will be taken by the Reds. And that's the 20-metre mark coming into screen as the ball is played. Edwards giving it again to Sine Faimalo. Likes to run from deep and run hard. Switch by Lee to Edwards. Edwards looking for the runner, coming down the centre of the ruck. They're still 12 metres out. Burgess gets to 5 metres from the Adelaide line. Now played, Edwards switching it back on the inside to Cliff Eccles, heading towards the post. Does well, though, to unload. Back to Eccles, then away to Faimalo. Faimalo gave his pass on to Savellino. He's still 5 metres out. Steve Stone was the defender with Alan Cann. Last coming up for the Reds. Across field to Mark Lee. The halfback uses the kick into the in-goal. Rod Mabon takes it. Tackled immediately by Steve Blakely. Goal line dropout by Adelaide.
Yeah, good thing by Mark Lee, the halfback for the Salford side. A little grubber kick through. There it is. Perfectly weighted Rod Mabon there to clean up, but he's got nowhere to go. Blakely's there to clean up, make the tackle. So they'll get another set of 6 now. Bit of possession and field position going to the Salford side. They want to capitalise with points on the board.
So the goal line dropout, not the best of ones either by Adelaide. There you have it. When the goal line dropout isn't that deep, the first tackle is made just outside the 20-metre mark. So again, another great attacking option for Salford. And once more, it's Faimalo. He starts to wind up for his run about 15 metres back from the line.
He's a goer, isn't he, Faimalo? Blakely
getting his pass across field to Rogers, trying to bust his way through. Darren Rogers to play it.
You've delayed it, definitely.
So the penalty.
Goal.
May have, well, they're going to have the shot at goal.
There he is. Skiffolitti, I think it is, round the bootlaces. Just hanging on a little bit long. There he is, just lifting up the boot. And that's...
May have been a little lucky, the position on the field, that referee Tim Mander didn't even put him into the sin bin for what could be classed as a professional foul, knowing that they were so close to scoring the Reds. But Steve Blakely will have this shot at goal. Blakely, who's taken the ball back about 13 metres. Some 10 metres to the left of the upright. Kick by Blakely is successful. And so Adelaide leads Salford by 16 points to 8. They needed to be the side to score first in the second half. Certainly a try would have been more to the liking of the Reds. But points on the board anyway is what they needed. So 8 points the margin. Mark Corbo and Steve Stone, 2 former Canberra Raiders who are now domiciled here with the Adelaide Rams. Get ready for the restart.
Be interesting to see how far Adelaide can make from this restart, the set of 6. So let's have a look.
So Adelaide start to run it back. That is Mark Corbo who takes the first tackle. Luke Williamson just stepped off the right foot to straighten up the attack, ran into the tackle low of Hume. Back from stint in the blood bin with the head bandaged. Alan Cairn taking the pass right on the advantage line and is then able to go forward another 8 metres. And again, Mark Corbo. That's probably the difference, Peter Jackson. When Adelaide take the ball, they're taking it right on the line, so they're well over the advantage line when the tackle is made. Luke Williamson with the kick, waiting for it. Gary Broadbent takes it just out from his own line, the Reds fullback, chased by Chris Quinn, gets out of Chris Quinn's tackle, now starts to run, and eventually it's Rod Mabon who makes the tackle. Fullback on fullback. So the Reds, just 10 inside their own half. Savellino playing the ball. Richard Smith getting inside Adelaide's territory by a couple of metres. Hume. David Hume stepping and running and then pulled down by the defence. Mark Lee with a little wraparound with Blakely, calling the runners back on the inside. Nathan McAvoy plays it. Steve Blakely with a scamper out of dummy half, taking a leaf out of the Adelaide book. The pass went backwards, says the referee. This is Smith, Richard Smith, running it across field. Runs into the clutches, though, of Corbo, and in to help him was David Borton. Last tackle on its way now for the Reds. Mark Lee with a little kick ahead. Oh, great work by Dean Skiffolitti. Couldn't get it at the first attempt, got it at the second. Drags it to the ground, 5 out from his own line.
Yeah, fantastic work by Skiffolitti. There's a little reverse kick from Mark Lee. Skiffolitti gets one hand to it and comes up with the take on the second chance. And Salford, they're growing in confidence, I think. They're starting to look a little bit better. Getting up, playing the ball a little bit quicker. That won't do their cause any good. Giving away penalties down that end of the field.
So this penalty to Adelaide. 30 metres out from the Adelaide line, Luke Williamson kicking out towards the famous Victor Richardson gates here at the Adelaide Oval, one of the real landmarks here at Adelaide. Great player for South Australia and Australia, the late Victor Richardson, and of course the grandfather of the Chapel boys, Ian, Greg and Trevor. Steve Stone taking it across field to be met by Burgess. Kieran Walters from dummy half gives it back to Rod Mabon. Mabon to Alan Cairn. Cairn, straight ahead goes Alan Cairn, gets to the last line of defence, and Gary Broadbent has to take him ball and all. Good tackle by the fullback. Kieran Walters keeps it going away to Steve Stone. Stone getting his pass back to Mamando. He'll get over the line and score. Bruce Mamando, who's a try-scoring machine for the Adelaide Rams and for Papua New Guinea when he's playing representative football. And when he's out wide and running hard, the big fella who has incredible upper body strength is very hard to stop. And Bruce Mamando goes in to score the try.
Yeah, fantastic try to Bruce Mamando. All started with this bust here from Alan Cairn. A great run by the big fella here. This goes through a pretty ordinary tackle there. David Hume it was who missed that one. Gets up, nice quick play of the ball from Alan Cairn. They go down the left-hand side. Steve Stone's there, as he always is. He gets the pass to Bruce Mamando. And as you said, John, big and strong Bruce Mamando just burrows over. Here it is again. Steve Stone there calling the shots. Involved in everything for the Rams, Steve Stone is. Bruce Mamando, well, you just can't stop that bloke that close to the line. And he goes over for a great try to the Adelaide Rams. They didn't need that, the Reds.
Particularly for our English viewers, Bruce Mamando, who has captained Papua New Guinea at test level in rugby league. In fact, Adelaide have 2 Papua New Guinea test captains in their ranks. Bruce Mamando and Elias Payo is on the bench today. But Mamando has been one of the outstanding players in Australia this season. He's had a wonderful season for the Adelaide Rams. Did spend some time with the Canberra Raiders before coming to Adelaide. But when you look at the form players of the year, he must be right up near the top of the list. He's had a wonderful, wonderful year.
He certainly has, and as we said earlier, he scored plenty of tries, which is important. Here comes Williamson.
Luke Williamson, kick on its way, looking good off the boot. Crowd on the hill in front of the Victor Richardson gates, who had the view of that, loved it. As we have a look at this try again, Kerrod Walters scampering from dummy half, Steve Stone coming off him, shoots the short pass away to Mamando, and he was able to go through the tackle of Eccles and Gary Broadbent. The fullback, Gary Broadbent's had a lot of work to do today for Salford. He's done it pretty well, but gee, get back Bruce Mamando that close to the line, virtually against anyone in the competition at the moment. He's just so strong. So a crucial try gets Adelaide away to 22 points to 8 lead over Salford. The Reds now know that they have to be the side to score next. Andy Burgess playing the ball, and this is Cliff Eccles. Eccles 10 metres short of halfway.
Adelaide have a minor problem. Rod Maybon's got a cut above his left eye. Now, he came to the sideline and had it treated, but and the referee said he can play on, but if it opens up, he'll be off. And the Rams, that's the last thing they want to see.
Thanks, Matt McEwen. So we'll keep an eye on Rod Maybon, who's had an excellent game today, as it comes from Blakely, then away to Lee. Lee using the little kick ahead. There may have been a player, a Salford player, impeded in that chase through. Referee Tim Mander said no. And Rod Maybon plays the ball. Michael Maguire having trouble playing the ball, eventually does so. Jason Donald playing it just over halfway. Mamando. Don't argue by Bruce Mamando. He ran straight at Peter Edwards. Edwards gets to his feet and says, what was the number of that truck? He's loving it, Bruce Mamando. Kerrod Walters back inside to Mark Corbo. Edwards recovers from the don't argue from Mamando to be involved in the tackle with Hume on Corbo. Referee's whistle goes.
Nowhere near right, mate.
Against the attacking side.
No, wait. No, you're playing the ball too quick. Should have played it there. You're playing it that way, mate, because he wasn't effectively held.
So the penalty against Mark Corbo, let's watch it. Referee says he hasn't marked square on. He must face the opposition try line. Well, yeah, he's playing it out towards some bloke on the Victor Richardson, near the Victor Richardson gates. Yeah, you have to face the try line. So the correct decision by Tim Mander, as Eccles makes a half bust. A few metres into Adelaide territory. Savellino tackled. Ball to be played back by Former. This is Blakely. Just on inside the red zone of Adelaide. Burgess giving his pass to Broadbent. Taken ball and all, first of all by Solomon Peary, then the tackle finished off by Alan Cann. To Blakely, then away to Lee. Lee fires his pass, wide to Darren Rogers. Ball going ahead to be taken by Rod Maybon. Maybon starting to run it and is chased and dragged to ground. Eventually pulled to ground by Darren Rogers. Just one interesting thing, Peter Jackson, as we watch this kick again, Darren Rogers almost caught in the tackle of Chris Quinn, does well to get his kick away. Rod Maybon, though, across to clean it up for Adelaide. Just one interesting thing of Salford, their halves seem to switch over a fair bit. You often see Steve Blakely going in to be first receiver, Mark Lee standing on the outside of him.
I think you find that a fair bit nowadays, John. I certainly know that there's a knock on there from the Adelaide Ram.
That's it. Just draw it down.
Yeah, he just dropped it. You hear him telling Kerrod Walters. Yeah, that happens a lot now. If you watch Brisbane play, Kevin Walters and Alan Langer swap around a little bit now, and it does happen quite often in the modern game.
Steve Blakely, as he's such a good tactical kicker as well. When he is first receiver, just gives him that extra option.
Well, he looks dangerous every time he touches the ball. There's a chance for him off the back of the scrum.
David Hugh running off the back of the scrum, giving his pass away to Richard Smith. So Salford, 10 inside Adelaide's territory. Darren Rogers trying to break through the defence. He can't. Stone has a good hold of him. From Broadbent, he elects to give it up the blind zone once more. This is Forber. Plays the ball, Forber. Spun across the field from Blakely. Give it away again to Mark Lee, standing on the outside of Blakely. Tackled by Corbo. Blakely going from dummy half himself. Then switches it back on the inside. Nathan McAvoy, only 9 metres out from the line. They desperately need a try. The little kick just into the in goal. It's going to be fielded there by Rod Mavon, and he did well. Most of his torso was inside the in goal, but the part that mattered most, the ball was in the field of play.
Yeah, once again, Salford deciding to go with the grubber kick. They love these grubber kicks. I mean, they're very hard to score off grubber kicks. Most sides now talk to each other, most defending sides talk to each other, and they've got that covered. Once again, I'll say it, just stick it in the air is your best bet every time. It's a 50-50 chance.
You would probably think, as we see a break being made by Brett Galia. Galia starting to run, turns his pass back on the inside once more. Solomon Keary running hard, and will get it over the line and score, and that should be the try that really solves the game, as far as if there was any doubt about it. Solomon Keary going in to score the try for Adelaide. Gets them away to a lead of 26 points to 8 with a kick to come.
Oh, fantastic try to the Adelaide Rams. Came from nothing. A beautiful break by the big former Brisbane Broncos player, Brett Galia. He's only been on the field a couple of minutes. He just goes through 1, 2 fairly ordinary tackles. Big Cliff Eccles is one of those blokes that just fell off, looking for support now. He does very well, Solomon Keary, to position himself back on the inside. He gets a beautiful pass from Galia. It looked like Smith might get there at one stage, but Big Keary has too much pace in the end and goes down for a great try. That'll be the clincher for the Adelaide Rams. Here it is again, Brett Galia. There's the tackle missed by the halfback, as well as Big Cliff
Eccles.
Big Cliff Eccles. And Solomon Keary does the rest after a beautiful inside ball from Brett Galia. And he's a big bloke, showed plenty of promise up at the Brisbane Broncos, but never really kicked on in the last couple of years. But that'll be a promising sign for Coach Rod Reddy and for Brett Galia.
Solomon Keary, the try scorer. Just watching that replay, did he actually put the ball on the ground? I think
he did. No, yeah, the first time he didn't. He got up again and put it back around under the post.
Fair enough. Luke Williamson to convert the try from right in front. Williamson making the job easy for him today. 28-8 it is. Brett Galia, big man, and has a good turn of speed when he gets into the open, Brett Galia, and a lovely pass, and Solomon Keary running right off his hip, just turned it straight into Solomon Keary.
He didn't put the ball down, so he's done pretty well there, made the kick a little bit easier.
Yeah, fair enough. So, 28-8 it is. Jacko, just going back to that point that we were talking about a moment ago with Salford, when they're using the grubbers all the time, another reason you would think that they would be better off going to the air is they have a couple of fairly tall fellows in their centres, Nathan McAvoy and Darren Rogers, and the fullback for Adelaide, of course, Rod Mavon is only a little bloke. When you put the ball a grubber kick, Rod Mavon, being short, is much better, much easier to pick up the grubbers. As Adelaide attack once more. Across to Skiffalini. Then it goes to Luke Williamson. Williamson trying to bust through the tackle. Held on to, though. Put to ground by Nathan McAvoy. Now across field from Stone. Gives it to Elias Payo, the other player who was captain Papua New Guinea. And the little centre Elias Payo, nuggety little bloke, plays the ball. Back to Kerrod Walters. Walters running from dummy half. He's almost through Kerrod Walters. The defence gets to him. Broadbent is there with Eccles, and they push him back into the field of play. Payo, the dummy half. Tries to sneak under the defence. They were waiting for it. Played back. This is Dean Skiffalini. Back to Luke Williamson. Tackle made by Dennis Hugh. On the last from Skifferlity to Steve Stone. Stone puts it into the in goal. Smith coming back for it, will knock it over the dead ball line, and Salford once more will go to a goal line dropout.
Oh, he makes a big difference to this Adelaide side, Steve Stone. He's got a great football brain. And this time he just gets a little grubber kick through, perfectly weighted. Broadbent had a go at it, but he couldn't come up with it. And in the end, Smith had an option but to pat it dead. And there it is again from Steve Stone. Beautiful little kick there. The worst result was going to be a line dropout.
Yeah, I think Adelaide are quite entitled to use the little grubber kicks, but you would think from Salford's point of view, they'd be far better off going to the air, the Reds. 28-8 it is in favour of the Adelaide Rams. Just under 13 minutes remaining in this game. Kurt Wrigley has just come off the interchange bench. Tackled by Eccles. Skifferlity gives it wide to the left-hand side to Brett Galia. Galia trying to get under the tackle of Ian Watson, who's also just off the interchange bench for Salford. Now to Mark Corbo. Corbo taken in the tackle of Savalina.
Just a push. No, wait. No, you're all over it. You're all over to play the ball, fellas. 2.
David Hume was the man there. He just copped one from Mark Corbo. It was just an open hand, really. And they get the penalty of the Adelaide Rams. Back on the attack.
As it comes to Kurt Wrigley. Wrigley with a lovely quick pass. The Orange just passed to pick up Rod Maybon, and Maybon goes in to score try number 2. Terrific work by Kurt Wrigley. Hardly put his hands to the ball. Just kept it going off the fingertips. He knew that Rod Maybon was coming around him. Straight to Rod Maybon and into the gap and scores. And if the game wasn't in doubt before, it's certainly not in doubt now. 32 points to 8 it is. Kick to come. Adelaide in front of Salford.
Oh, great little try this from the Adelaide Rams after a turnover from the Salford side. There's big Elias Payo getting the ball away to Steve Stone. Once again, he's involved. As you said, John, that's beautiful stuff from Kurt Wrigley. Straight through the hands, quick hands. They practiced that a lot of training and it paid dividends today. There's the good pass from Elias Payo. There's Steve Stone onto Wrigley. That's just beautiful football from Kurt Wrigley. He would have learnt that in his younger days, brought it through to the senior football level, and Rod Maybon goes over for his second try. It's all over now as far as the Salford Reds are going. A long way to come to get flogged at the Adelaide Oval.
And Kurt Wrigley has taken over the goal-kicking role from Luke Williamson. A very accomplished goal kicker, Kurt Wrigley. A few metres in from touch. Just hooks it across the face of goal. So Adelaide leads Salford by 32 points to 8. Just over 10 minutes remaining here at the Adelaide Oval.
It's a tough call this last 10 minutes now for the Salford side. They obviously can't win the match. They've got to try and play for a little bit of credibility, respectability, and of course if they end up getting flogged by 50 in this match, well, the rest of the tour, their remaining couple of games in this World Club Challenge, all of a sudden their confidence is shot and be a real blow for them to be absolutely flogged in their first match.
In fact, the Reds have a bye next week and then travel to Townsville to play the North Queensland Cowboys in round 3 of the Visa World Club Challenge, which at the moment is being dominated by the Australian sides, or the Australasian sides, we should say. Andy Gregory, the coach of the Salford Reds. Sure, Andy would probably like to be up there leading the way himself, knowing what a determined little fellow he is. And what a competitive little bloke he always is. This is Ian Watson. Watson able to give his pass away to Burgess, and then on to Watson doubling around him and gives it back to Richard Smith. He's bulldogged into the deck. Steve Blake using the kick away from Maybon, letting it run, and it will go touch in goal. Then we'll come back to the 20 for the restart by the Adelaide Rams. Possession, well, when one side has 59% to 41, what that means is you've got to be making a lot of tackles. Time in their own half, and when you're making a lot of tackles, Peter Jackson, that certainly saps up the energy, and Salford just haven't been able to hang on in situations such as this, but then again, that's been right from the word go in this game. Their market offence, they've let the little men of Adelaide just make so many easy metres. Brett Galia getting out wide, trying to get over the top of Watson. Does well to get his pass back to Kurt Wrigley. Wrigley got away from Eccles, turns it away to Steve Stone. Stone has had a very good game today for Adelaide. He'll go in and score another try. The floodgates have opened on the Reds. It's now 36 points to 8 with a very easy kick to come.
It's getting too easy for the Adelaide Rams now. Salford just falling off tackles. They've lost interest in this one, which is a shame. Steve Stoney deserved that try. He's been involved in everything good for the Adelaide Rams since he's been on the field. There it goes, big Brett Galia again. He's had a rampage game since he's been on the field. Gets the backhander back to Kurt Wrigley. There's a little bit of a hole up there and he spots it. Steve Stone backing up on the inside, just drawing the fullback, and Steve Stone going in beside the post. Fantastic try to the Rams. And the Salford side now, they've really got to regroup and put in a decent performance in this last 7 minutes or so. Kurt Wrigley just finding that hole with absolute ease, and they've been soft in that part of the park all day, the Salford side. They just haven't covered each other, particularly behind the ruck and particularly their markers.
So Kurt Wrigley, a much easier kick this time for him. There by Kurt Wrigley. So Adelaide's leading by 38 points to 8 over Salford. As we watch the try with Brett Galia. Galia, who's had a great impact since he's come on to the field, does well to stand in the tackle, give it away to Kurt Wrigley. Knew that Steve Stone was backing up unchallenged on the inside and scores underneath the post. One thing Peter Jackson this game will do for Adelaide, give them a lot of confidence. They've been extremely competitive right through the year, Adelaide. Probably to get a big win under their belt will be very, very good for the players' confidence themselves.
Yeah, to get out there and score some tries, there's no doubting that. It doesn't matter who you're playing against. It does do the confidence the world of good. But, you know, Adelaide play pretty simple. They haven't got a great number of game breakers in their side. And today against this Salford defence, they've had players out there who wouldn't normally score tries or make breaks, doing it at ease.
I'm sure Andy Gregory will be telling his charges, you're not to throw the towel in, dig deep. I want a good last 6 minutes. So it goes back to Michael Maguire. Good chase. That's the sort of thing he'd be asking for. Fardasina not giving away the chase, just able to make the ankle tap tackle. Rod Maybon. Maybon stepping off left and right and then thrown to ground in the tackle of Hume. Mamando passes it back to Cameron Blair. 12 inside their own half, the Rams. Elias Payo shows it, steps. Ridden to ground eventually by Paul Forber. Kerrod Walters again going from dummy half. Forber once more as the tackler. Corvo, they lay off him, just allowing him to make those easy metres. Last coming up for Adelaide, 40 metres out from the line. Back to Dean Skiffolitti. Putting the ball wide towards Michael Maguire's wing. Be contested though by Fardasina, and he comes up with possession for Salford. Gary Broadbent, who has impressed me, Gary Broadbent.
Limited opportunities.
Yeah. He's done it well, what he's had to do.
Got a good try. He's made a couple of good breaks, in fact.
Comes with very good raps from the people who know English rugby league well, and he's been one of the informed players for Salford, and you can see from the opportunities that he has had why that's the case. Andy Burgess. Steve Blakely has also been one of the better performers for Salford, playing the ball on tackle number 5. Little kick being put ahead by Ian Watson.
Well, they all want to have a go at the little kick now, don't they?
Well cleaned up, though, by Elias Payo. To Maybon, then away to Stone. Out on the right-hand side, getting through, looking for Maybon on the inside. Couldn't take it, Rod Maybon. Knock on. So this will be a scrum feed to the Reds.
Oh, it's just getting a little bit too easy for the Rams at the moment. There's Steve Stone halfway through a hole, gets a one-hander back to Roddy Maybon, who couldn't handle that one.
Probably Peter Edwards had hold of Rod Maybon before the ball had actually come into Maybon's grasp. However, Watson feeding the scrum away to Blakely, then away to McAvoy, trying to get over the top of Kurt Wrigley. Does well to hold on to him. Call for quickly by Broadbent. Sensing there was some room out on the short right-hand side. Darren Rogers tackled. To Blakely, then away to Watson. Watson able to give his pass, just getting it wide to Savellino. Lokini Savellino plays it to Ian Watson. Thought about getting the pass around the corner, then spilt it. Just a little knock on.
Just drop the ball clean. Everybody's following. 2 touch changes. The scrum, follow the scrum.
Yeah, he's coming up with the knock on here as he was trying to get to his feet. Ian Watson dropping the ball. The Rams get another opportunity to put some more points on before full time. Score another converted try, 44 points to 8. That is an absolute shellacking in anybody's books.
Brisbane Mando is peeling off the scrum up to the short side. 10 inside their own half, Adelaide. Brett Gailey are taking it to the line. Savellino playing the ball, or making the tackle. The ball played back to Kieran Walters. Brisbane Mando inside to Chris Quinn. Quinn splitting over the fence. He's got Kieran Walters with him. He was forced into the tackle by Gary Broadbent and then Drew Broadbent and sent it away to Kieran Walters. Walters to score.
What's he doing?
Chicken tonight.
What was that all about, Kieran? Great try to the skipper. It's falling off tackles now. Beautiful inside ball. Chris Quinn, he just ducks his head, Chris Quinn, really, and went through that tackle. Here it says, how good's this? I go in under the post. They've just about scored every try underneath the post, haven't they? The Adelaide Rams would probably... There he goes. I don't know what's going on there. He might lay something soon. Here it is here. You watch Chris Quinn back on the inside. It really just ducks his head, goes underneath that high tackle. The hole opened up again. Kieran does the rest, goes in underneath the post. But we'll have to get Matty McEwen at full time to ask Kieran what that was about.
So Kurt Wrigley from in front. Goose that laid the golden egg, eh?
It's the brain explosion. Here it is again. See the Salford players. There's no cover defence at all from the Salford side. That's why most of the tries have been scored underneath the post by the Adelaide Rams. They've busted them down the middle. And there it is again. Whatever you'd call that, I'm not sure.
Chicken man. He's everywhere. He's everywhere. So, into the 40s go the Adelaide Reds. 44 points to 8, and the crowd starting to yell for Adelaide, saying, we want 50. They've got to get the ball back in the last 20 seconds. The Reds 30 up from their own line. Gary Broadbent. The defence coming up very quickly as Cameron Blair is able to go in and take the pass, so they have one last opportunity, Adelaide, to bring up 50 with 3 seconds to go from Steve Stone. Wide to Kurt Wrigley. Wrigley gives it away to Skiffolini. Then to Brett Gailey, back inside to Dean Skiffolini to Steve Stone. Stone able to push a long pass out wide to Simon Keary. Keary will bring it along and score, and Kurt Wrigley has the kick to try and bring up the half century.
Oh, the Adelaide Rams, the entertainers. I tell you what, that was a fantastic try. Interesting to see how many sets of hands that went through. I'd say about 6 or 7 at the very least. A fantastic try to the Rams. And I tell you what, they're not the sort of side you expect to see those sort of tries from, but they're enjoying this afternoon. There's a little bit of a break from the everyday. There's one. Cameron Blair goes down. He gets up and plays it quickly. So that was Chris Quinn
to Maguire.
2, that's
Stone,
3, 4,
Wrigley,
5.
Skiffolini, Galia did well, Skiffolini, Stone, long pass over the top of Mamando to Solomon Keary. That is as good a rugby league try as you'll ever see. Well done, the Adelaide Rams.
Yeah, that was fantastic stuff, just keeping the ball alive. They wanted to get that last try before full time. That was obviously in the back of their minds, and they've done it. And that's gone through 10 sets of hands, and you don't see many better tries than that. Solomon Keary finishing off perfectly. Now, can they put this one over? Kurt Wrigley to make it 50. That is an absolute flogging.
Well, There's been a lot of half-centuries and centuries scored on this famous ground, but this can be Adelaide's first half-century. Can he do it, Kurt Wrigley? On its way, looks good off the boot.